Good day everyone. Welcome to our channel, Project Eskwela Teacher Ko Police Program. We will be discussing the continuation of our subject, the Juvenile Justice System, Module 1. Introduction to Juvenile Delinquency and Juvenile Justice System. The learning outcomes at the end of the lesson, the students are expected to define terminologies related to juvenile delinquency and juvenile justice system, differentiate the factors that affects the prevalence of juvenile delinquency, discuss the history of juvenile delinquency, apply the concept of juvenile delinquency to real-life scenarios, defend personal stand based on the understanding of the concept and juvenile delinquency when given a particular situation. Lesson 1. The basic concept and nature of juvenile delinquency. What is crime? Crime class, which is defined as an act which violates the law, is committed regardless of age. We come now to definition of terms. Juvenile, a person who has not yet reached the adulthood or the age of majority. Sociologically, they are generally regarded as immature or one whose mental and emotional faculties are not yet fully developed. What is delinquency? Delinquency, a person regardless of age, whose attitude towards other individuals, towards the community, and towards local authority is such that it may lead into breaking the law. Juvenile delinquency, a term used to describe a large number of disapproved behavior of children and youth. Take note that it may also refer to antisocial acts and or behaviors of minors which deviates from the normal pattern of rules and regulations. Customs and culture, which society does not accept and which justifies some kind of admonishment, punishment, or corrective measures. Take note, class, that the juvenile crimes is various offenses committed by minors which can be classified into major categories, which are unlawful acts against persons, unlawful act against properties, drugs, and alcohol offenses, offenses against public order, and status offenses. What is status offense? Status offense, acts which can only be committed by juveniles and adjudicated on juvenile courts. These are acts which, if done by an adult, does not commensurate to a lawful disposition or punishment. Juvenile justice system class is the structure of the criminal legal system that deals with crimes committed by minors. Lesson 1.2, the relation of juvenile delinquency to emotional disturbance. Juvenile delinquency class is frequently attributed to emotional disturbance as it is almost automatically implied that acting out of the youth results from some emotional strains that they are suffering. The emotional disturbance was defined as a condition exhibiting inappropriate types of behavior under normal circumstances for a long period of time. Lesson 1.3, characterization and patterns of juvenile delinquency. Juvenile behavior has different characterization and patterns that separates them from the norms. Take note that a variety of factors such as an individual characteristic, family characteristic, peers, and school influences, neighborhood environment, and daily activities are among the few. What is individual factors? Individual factors, take note that it refers to the broad range of characteristics that may be related to behavioral patterns in a variety of ways, including demographics, gender, race, physiological characteristic and age. Number one is gender. What is gender? Gender, males are more likely to display early signs of aggressive behavior, specifically in the form of bullying. The boys in late adolescence and young men are much more likely to be serious, high-rate offenders than girls and older men. So makikita natin na yung mga kabataan na lalaki ay sila yung nakakakomit po sila ng ganitong ori ng mga pagkakamali. Like, form of bullying, nambubuli po sila. Kaysa doon sa mga babae o kaya doon sa medyo maedad na. Ang edad po nila, according to research, past research natin has generally indicated that rates of violence among males tend to peak at ages of 15 to 17 years old. And mostly, ang ating race dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, the indigenous people are bullied by the local residents, especially school children. So, based on our study, during our community immersion at Agtatabangnon Tribe at Santo Domingo, Iriga City, the children of Agtatabangnon, especially on grade school, was bullied by the children local residents of the said place. The summary: results of studies cannot be generalized to the total population of juveniles, but these individual snapshots appear to be consistent with findings from past research. Overall, juvenile violence is committed primarily by males, while some younger adolescents do commit violent offenses. The majority of juvenile offenders are the victims are 15, 16, and 17 years old. So, an examination of neighborhood factors indicates that many violent juvenile offenders live in disruptive and disorganized families and communities. So, karamihan sa mga nakakakumit po ng ganitong uri ng mga pangbubuli o kaya yung nagkakaroon ng delinquency, sila po yung mga disorganized families and community. So, according to Howard Beaker, a famous sociologist, master of sociology of deviance, and one of the foundations of labeling theory of criminality, delinquency has many different types, since it exhibits a variety of styles of conduct or forms of behavior. Howard Beaker, mayroon po siyang 4 different classifications of delinquency. Number 1 is the individual delinquency. This refers to delinquency where only one individual is involved. Psychiatrists often explain this kind of behavior stemming from defective faulty pathological family interaction patterns. Researches of Halley and Bronner are based on this approach. In their study comparing delinquent youths from their non-delinquent siblings, it was found out that over 90% of delinquent siblings have unhappy and discontented home and life circumstances. So, may mga pinagdadaanan sila sa kanilang pamilya at hindi sila masaya. Kaya nakakagawa sila ng ganitong ori ng delinquency. Further studies like that of Bandora and Walters, studies also identified important aspects of family relations leading to delinquencies. Bandora and Walters compared the aggressive actions of delinquencies with those of non-delinquent boys with no clear sign of economic hardship. They found that delinquents differed from non-delinquents a little in their relationship with their mothers, but more in their relationship with their fathers. So, kapag yung mga bata ay malapit sa nanay, so, medyo iba yung kanilang pagpapalaki sa kanila. Group-supported delinquency. This type of delinquency is obtained through associations with others and located not in the personality but on the culture of the individual's home and neighborhood. So, ito yung nangyayari because of culture ng bawat isa. At yung mga minsan nakukuha na rin ito because of the influence of their neighborhood. The studies of Thrasher, Shaw, and Mackey, which was later on explained very clearly by Sutherland, and his differential association theory, stressed that the main set of ideas of delinquency focuses on what is learned and from whom it is learned from rather than on the problems that might produce a motivation. So, situational delinquency. The situational delinquency provides a different perspective. That delinquency is not deeply rooted, and motives for delinquency and means for controlling it are often relatively simple. And March's drift theory, he believes that delinquencies, like all members of society, are subject to the moral obligations of the law. Organized delinquency. With Albert Cohen's status prostration theory as its foundation, this type of delinquency are committed by developing formally organized groups, now popularly known as delinquent subculture. This concept refers to the set of values and norms that guide the behavior of the group members, encourage the commission of delinquencies, award status on the basis of such act, and specify typical relationship to persons who pull outside the groupings governed by group norms. So, we have historical overview of juvenile justice. We have the Code of Hammurabi, 2270 BC, included reference to runaways, children who disobeyed their parents, and sons who cursed their fathers. Okay, Roman civil law and canon, 33 AD, distinguish between juveniles and adult based upon the idea of age of responsibility. The Talmud set forth conditions under which immaturity was to be considered in imposing punishment. Muslim law also called for leniency in punishing youthful offenders, and children under the age of 17 were be exempt from death penalty. Anglo-Saxon common law, 11th and 12th century, was influenced by Roman civil law. This has particular significance for American juvenile justice system because it has roots in the English common law. Chancery courts, 15th century, were created to consider petitions of those in need of aid or intervention, generally women and children who were in need of assistance because of abandonment, divorce, or death of spouse. Through these courts, the king could exercise the right of parens, patria, and the courts acted in loco parentes to provide services and assistance to needy women and children. The principle of parens patria late became basis for juvenile court in the US. So in 19th century, children who broke the law were treated pretty much the same as adult criminals, as the law made no distinction based on age of offender and there was no legal term for delinquent. Members of the Society for the Prevention of Pauperism Late 19th century US expressed dissatisfaction with the practice of placing children in adult jails and workhouses, and called for institutions that would instruct delinquent youth in proper discipline and moral behavior. The Society for the Reformation of Juvenile Delinquents in New York advocated for the separation of juvenile and adult offenders. And in 1825, the New York House of Refuge was established to take independent, neglected, and delinquent youths. The pillar and loopholes of the houses of refuge and early reform schools led to the creation of child-saving movement. So, this organization pushed for legislation that would give court jurisdiction over children who were incorrigible, runaways, and those who committed crime. So the first juvenile court, 1899, was established in Chicago with the purpose of turning delinquents into productive citizens by focusing on treatment rather than punishment. The juvenile legal process is more of legal case than criminal, purportedly making decision in the best interest of the child. That's all for today. Thank you and have a good day.